Rebellions are built on hope.
Incoming transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Alberto Calderon, and thank you for spending another great Saturday evening with us, talking Star Wars, what we like, what we do here. And finally, we're going to talk about it, the Rising Storm. You guys know, if you follow me, the High Republic, that's me right now. I love the Bad Batch. I like the Bad Batch. I like what they're doing. But High Republic, that's my Star Wars right now. That sounded bad, but that's what's got me really interested in Star Wars right now is the High Republic. Can't wait to jump into the Rising Storm, that first book of Wave 2. Yeah, Phase 1, Wave 2 just came out a few weeks ago, and Rising Storm, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it, have some great guests. But yeah, how you guys doing? Thanks for being here. As always, I like talking to you guys, or at least you guys hearing me talk. So yeah, it's been a fun week, fun couple of days. They don't end for me this week. I tried to tell you guys a little bit Star Wars, what's going on with Star Wars in my life. Last week, most of you know, it was my birthday. Yay, birthday. So want to apologize if there's a few extra wrinkles around. You can see my hair, but might be a few extra gray strands back there. But I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt that I got, a little Viper droid there. You know, it's Radio Rebellion. We got to have our Imperial probe droids, which funny enough, they did show up in the Bad Batch yesterday, so there's some connection there. Today, talking with you guys, talking Star Wars. Actually, also yesterday I was, I guess, with the Geeky Waffle, talking about the Bad Batch. Two of their hosts are here. It's going to be extremely fun. And then tomorrow, I'm going to Galaxy's Edge. Me and my daughter are heading over there. So after this, going to bed early, wake up early, go to Galaxy's Edge. And I'll be posting a lot of stuff, I'm sure. So keep checking my Twitter, Instagram. You'll see what's going on. Next week, I don't know. I'm not sure if we're gonna have a show next week. I'll think about it. Maybe take a week off and then come back. So we'll see. But thank you guys. If you're watching this now or later on the replay, make sure that you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new episodes. And maybe if I don't do a live show next week, I might just upload something about the time at Galaxy's Edge, anything, any swag, anything that I get from there. I got to get a lightsaber. Maybe I'll do a short video about that and post that up. So make sure you subscribe so you can see that. And leave a comment if you're watching this later. And if you're listening to this when it comes out on the audio podcast, make sure that you're following there. Leave us a comment, rating, review, whatever it is you do on podcast. I don't know. I forget. But with that said, Rising Storm, High Republic, great guest today. It'll be fun. I'm still kind of, is it going to go okay? People are here. No. All jokes aside, these are two of my favorite people in this space, not just guests. I've been here before, but just in this Star Wars, Twitterverse, podcasting, these are two of my favorites. So I always enjoy where I get to talk to them. And they're here both at the same time. So we'll see. From the Geeky Waffle and Space Waffles is Arezou Amin. And from Outer Rim Beacon, and let's talk about Star Wars, Maggie Lovitt. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Very excited.
Yes.
I have a question for you, Alberto. Are you going to get one of the lightsabers that look like the High Republic lightsabers at Galaxy's Edge?
Oh, those. So first, I couldn't get in line to build my own lightsaber. Yeah, so it's like you had 90 days to sign up. On day 90 at 7 in the morning, I went there. No, it's already booked up. You're screwed. But I heard that you can go in and then just get on a wait list as soon as you get there. And maybe 3 to 4 hours later, you get a call. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I mean, after I see the Falcon and just stand there in awe for 10 minutes. I'll go to Savi or wherever, get on a wait list, and then I'll check the legacy lightsabers that they have in and see, because it depends. I'm really interested in the Ray Skywalker that came
Oh
out a
yeah.
few months ago. If I see that one, I might just get it and forget about building my own one. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
You can
It's gonna
try
be
to get like a magic moment. Be like, it was my birthday. This is my first trip with my daughter after the
Yeah.
pandemic. Like,
Have your
really
daughter
work it.
there, push her forward.
Be like,
it's her birthday on Tuesday, so that's
there
the
you
reason I'm
go.
going. So,
it was
They
your
have to.
birthday.
They have
her
to be
birthday.
heartless to say no.
yeah, I know.
They have to make that magic moment happen.
They gotta make. I think. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna practice tonight. She's gonna build a droid. That's what she wants to do. She wants a droid. So, but maybe
That's
she
so
can
much
help me
fun.
get that. Okay. Yes, I was able to get that with her. 11:30. We gotta be there for that droid depot, and then I gotta get in line somehow for Rise of the Resistance, which I guess
Like
at 7
right
in the
at
morning.
7 a.m. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta before I leave. I want to leave here around 7:10. It takes me about a little bit over 2 hours to get there. Plus, they have to do a stop, so I gotta get that first and then head over. And if I don't, then it doesn't matter. I just want to be in Star Wars land.
It's magical.
Oh, man, so I wanted to go when I turned 40 last year because it opened in 2019, I think. And I said, I'm not gonna go. It's gonna be too crowded. I want to make this magical moment. When I turn 40, I want to be there. And I thought that maybe the hotel was gonna be open at this time, but that's before we learned there was gonna be this Star Cruiser that's gonna take forever, which I hopefully one day will that. So I wanted to do that big thing. Just when I turn 40, if my family wants to go, that's fine. Just give me one day by myself there. That's all I ask. And then COVID happened and threw my plans away. And then as soon as it opened again, I'm vaccinated. I said, screw it, I'm going.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's the other Star Wars fan in the family. So, and the was difficult to get the whole family because Disney right now is not that cheap. It's pretty expensive. So we all four go. My mother-in-law is here. All five of us going. We staying over. They're gonna take dog sitter and all this. So we had like 6 pets here. So I said, okay, I'll go. I'll take my daughter because it's her birthday, and she's been telling me forever she wants to build a droid. So we convinced our younger son, okay, you'll stay here. We'll do something else, and then her and I will go. So it's gonna be
I love
great.
that.
Yeah, we
That'd
try.
be nice. It'll be
Yeah.
special.
All right, so like I mentioned, I was yesterday with you guys on the Geeky Waffle channel talking about the Bad Batch. It's great talking with you guys as always, and thank you for the birthday surprise and birthday wishes. They
From
took me off
Grogu.
guard. Yes, Grogu.
Grogu.
He always has something off his big sleeves that he has under his coat. So how you guys? I know we talked yesterday a lot about the Bad Batch, so I don't want to get too much into it, especially because I'm not doing weekly reviews anymore. I'm just doing it like once a month. But overall, this season, are you guys okay with the show? Are you liking it at least? And what do you hope for the final 4 episodes?
I want to spend more time with just the batch, not hopping around, not talking with the Empire, just the
Okay.
5 of them on the Marauder and Crosshair. And what is that going to look like when they confront each other? That's all I want in the last 4 episodes.
Yeah. I'm pretty much in the same place. Like it's been okay. It's been like a fun thing to watch on Friday mornings. But definitely looking forward towards like Book of Boba Fett, whenever the Mandalorian comes back. That's what I'm like looking at. I'm like, this is a gateway to get there.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, what are you guys looking forward to now? Because a few months ago, all these announcements came out. Some of them we're already seeing the Bad Batch. We know Book of Boba Fett is coming out in a few months in December. The High Republic is not halfway, but it's far along. What are you guys most excited for? I guess short term. I know you mentioned Maggie, Book of Boba Fett.
Same.
We know. Same. All right.
Yeah.
Andor. I'm very
Kenobi.
excited for Andor.
Andor, that's mine. So I don't know, it's so much. It's so many because I love Kenobi. I want to see that time period. Hopefully, just that character, deep dive in the character, just in everything that's happened in his life. But I've been extremely excited for Andor. But then Boba Fett is my guy, and plus what he did in season 2, and then the Acolyte that ties with the end of the High Republic. Maybe it's just so much out there, which is why. And even though I'm not liking I'm not liking the Bad Batch that much. It doesn't matter because there's so many other things coming that something's gonna click with someone out there. So
Yeah.
Not everything is for everybody, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned it last week. even though I'm not enjoying the Bad Batch, I'm watching it with my daughter. And then last week when Chopper came out, which is her favorite character, I said, yeah, Chopper. And then, okay, it's
I
not
love
for me.
all the children who love Murder Droid. I just love this.
Yeah, yeah. She wants to be like Chopper. I don't think that she can, but she has her Chopper pillow, her other Chopper. She has some earbuds that my wife got her that I Chopper.
Oh my gosh.
I love this.
Yeah. All right. So hi, Dale. Dale is saying hi to I see her, and Maggie's a Jedi today. Like I mentioned, you guys have your High Republic shirts.
Yes, we do.
Now and the Jedi is gonna.
And this is riddled with irony because I am definitely anti-Jedi in the High Republic.
Yes.
But this shirt was just too cool to pass up on.
So we're gonna get into that. And Dale, we're not gonna get into any Kenobi spoilers. I know there's some reports, rumors, I should say, out there today of who's being cast to play so and so in Kenobi. We won't get into that today. Maybe next week or whenever. Rumors, man, they always ruin everything. But all right, I think it's time. Let's get into it. So if you guys are ready, I know I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars. And today we're talking The Rising Storm, our spoiler review of Cavan Scott's great novel, The Rising Storm. So before we get into it, there we go. So yeah, we all got the same copy. There you go.
We all got the Target copy.
Yes.
It had a Marchion poster in the back. How could we not?
Seriously.
Yes, right there. You guys, I tried taking it out and it was giving me trouble. I didn't want to break the pages, but I still have it there.
Mine's hanging over my desk.
Well, it should be.
Of course it is.
So I can see it while I work.
Yeah. So when you were here last time, we talked about that first wave. So I kind of know your thoughts on the High Republic, at least so far before this wave started. So I want to hear from you first, Maggie, and then also just give us a quick recap about what have been your thoughts on the High Republic so far before jumping into The Rising Storm.
Oh my gosh. I think the High Republic is some of the best content that we've gotten out of Star Wars in a long time. And this book in particular, I think, is in my top 5 of like all of the Star Wars books I've ever read, like including Legends.
Yeah.
Just because it approaches Star Wars both in a familiar way, but also in a very new way, which I think works really well. Like, you know, obviously there's a lot more diversity for once, which I think is fantastic. Like people are seeing themselves in these characters for the first time, which is just great to watch kind of occur on the timeline. But also I think that the stories are so much richer because we're really diving into these characters and their connections. And it almost seems like this era is a little more free, especially like Elzar Mann is a man. And, you know, we're getting to see some of these stories that we otherwise haven't seen because this is, yes, there he is. This is like an era where the Jedi feel that while they are very rigid, and I definitely am not a huge fan in some aspects of the Jedi, there also seems to be a freedom that's allowing them to explore these like deeper relationships. Like we see this in some of the comics with like Kiev and Skier. We're seeing like the connections between like Elzar and Avar and Elzar and Samir, and like a lot of these connections that we don't really get. So it's like, it's fun. It's so much like juicier.
And I think so. I mean, for me, Star Wars, or what attracts me to Star Wars is the Jedi and all the Force lore. That's my favorite in Star Wars. And I've said it here before. Some of the books, the Throne books, even though I love, there's so much space battle that I can take. Just give me something else. And the High Republic is just, that's it. That's the High Republic. And like you said, it looks at it in a different way. The way they just see the Force. Everyone's not just the way they connect to the Force, but how it's not just the Jedi Order and their mandates, it's how the Force talks to us and the will of the Force. And every Jedi is different. And they have these connections with their masters, with other people like Elzar. And you see that camaraderie between Elzar and Stellan that we don't get just master and Padawan, but it's a teacher and a student. For them, it's totally different. And this High Republic era has just kind of extrapolated everything that I knew or thought I knew about the Jedi and the Order, and was sending me over the top, like into the shadows, the way they talked about Ola Jareni and Comac and all the conflicts that they were having which at first I'm like, don't give me that. If you're in the Jedi Order, you're in the Order and you follow it, because I never was with that great Jedi. But then you give that concept to someone like Claudia Gray and expands on it, and then you blow my mind, and then you go to Rising Storm, and Cavan Scott does a lot of it also, just changing the ways that people connect to the Force. And it's just similar but different, growing this past era, but it connects to the one that we know so far. So I'm just loving it. I guess all this is, I'm just loving the High Republic, and I can't wait to keep getting more stories about it. So also for you, even though we talked about it a few months ago, just a quick kind of your thoughts on the High Republic, and then some quick thoughts on the Rising Storm before we start diving into it.
So, like a few months ago when we were talking, I said that the thing I really liked about the High Republic was that it felt so fresh and new, and it's very disassociated from the rest of Star Wars. And I was actually making the point to somebody yesterday that what I like about the High Republic generally is if you take out the Star Wars specific references, it works very well as sci-fi on its own. It's not like something else that hinges so much on you already being familiar with Star Wars. This just works just fine without that. And then moving into the Rising Storm, I think it's like what Maggie said, it's all of these relationships, particularly with the Jedi, that, and it's a bit like you said too, Alberto, like it goes so much deeper than anything else we've gotten, and it's all these different kinds of dynamics, like rereading the Rising Storm and like Stellan and Elzar's friendship, like a lot of, it's so good because like there's a lot of books that try to convey we have been friends forever that don't do that well, but this book does it so masterfully, like without putting too much of a point on it or without really having like we've been friends forever. You just, they have that easy dynamic that you would have with somebody you've been best friends with for the last 25, 26 years. You know what I mean? So
it reminded me sometimes, I have two older brothers. I live in Florida. One of them is in Boston. The other one's still in Puerto Rico. So we don't see each other that often. But when we get together, it's like, no time has passed. And we bust each other chops. And it reminded me a lot of that brotherly relationship. And like you mentioned, people that know each other so well, even if you don't see them for 10 years, when you get them together, it's like they haven't skipped a bit and just go straight into it. And I love seeing that because we haven't seen that in Star Wars.
no.
We talked about
And if you think about it, like the Jedi basically are siblings because they're taken as children, very young children oftentimes, and they're raised alongside each other. So it really is that kind of sibling relationship almost.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it because it's always the master and the apprentice. So they don't have that growing up together in the Jedi Order. And we saw a little bit, again, with Cavan Scott on Dooku Jedi Lost, talking about Dooku growing up with Sifo Dyas and all the other ones. And you start seeing that relationship built. And then he goes to Rising Storm and he just expands on all of it. So before we keep going, I wanted to ask, I was thinking about this today because the first book that we got, Light of the Jedi, was Charles Soule that did that once. I guess the main one. Then for this second wave, Cavan Scott got the main novel. Do you think we're going to keep getting that as we move forward, the High Republic, that one of the other authors, be Claudia Gray, Daniel Jose Oder, or Justina Ireland, is going to get that main novel that kind of kickstart that new phase or new wave?
I almost wonder if it depends on what their speciality is, because I know like Daniel and Claudia are much more like middle grade young adult, same as Justina, whereas Cavan and Charles have written more adult books. Okay. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or if they will swap out and the next one will be Claudia Gray writing the adult book.
Yeah, because she's done that for Star Wars before too.
Yeah, she has.
Bloodline and Master
because Bloodline's is adult.
Yeah.
Again, nothing against some of my favorite books. I think my favorite books in Star Wars are those young adult ones. So
I can't wait for you to read Out of the Shadows, which comes out very soon. I see it's on some bookshelves some places.
Go check because my bookstore shipped mine early, so it's.
I saw a picture from a Barnes and Noble in the States where it was already on shelves. So
I'm gonna have to there. I'm gonna have to make a quick pit stop tomorrow on my way to Disney. Stop at this bookstore. See
read it while you're online.
Yeah, you might have it there.
It's so good. Like I loved Race to Crash Point Tower, but I think between these three, it was like Rising Storm and then Out of the Shadows was just so good.
And that's the one I've really interested in when these three were announced. It has Vern on the cover. It has Reed, two of my favorites. I love A Test of Courage, so I do like Justin Ireland's writing, so I'm really interested in that one. And the story, the synopsis looked very interesting. And Into the Dark was my favorite one. Right now, it's my favorite Star Wars book, so I want that book. So
You're
like
ready
I'm
for
on
it.
vacation right now. I started work vacation again for another week. I go back to work on the 27th when this book
Oh
comes out.
no!
It's
So that's
happened this.
more of a reason to go check and see if
Yeah, I
it's
gotta
out
go.
already.
Gotta get
Gotta
it
go
early.
try to find it.
All
You should
right,
just call
so-
your local bookstores and be like, "Hey, do you have this book yet?"
Yeah. All right, so let's say hi to our guest from last week. Rachel is here. Hey, can
Oh,
watch.
hey,
Why don't you say
Rachel.
hi? Thank you for being here, Rachel. We had a great
Good luck,
discussion
Rachel.
last week, talking about a Rebel Rising, Rogue One, everything about Gino. So we had a great show.
Quality content.
Yes, you came in. You came into discussion about your love for Andor and Rogue One and all that. So yeah, good luck on your audition, Rachel. All right, so Rising Storm starts when you heard that it's gonna be the Republic Fair. What were your thoughts about it? Because I'll say I was dumb. I heard the Republic Fair and I thought about this is a Renaissance fair somewhere. It didn't make sense. I thought like this big,
Oh
and
no!
then people
You
started
weren't thinking World's Fair.
No. I'm like, really? We're going to a little town, and then I think
I
you
love
guys
this.
started. It didn't make. I wasn't interested, and then I think also you posted. Oh, it reminds us of the words World Fair, the Starks,
Stark
whatever it was,
Expo.
Starks
Epcot.
Expo, and then okay, it's a little bit bigger than I thought. And then as soon as you start reading, you see so they going to Valo, all this big stuff. But when you heard the synopsis, the World's Fair that Lina saw is still trying to get her message across. What were your first reactions to that?
I think we had the same thought because neither of us trust Lina So. Both
Not
of
at
us think
all.
Lina So is a colonizing presence. So we're like, okay, that's what she's doing. She is putting a fair in the mid rim, which is part between her core where she lives and part between the outer rim, which she's colonizing. And she's like, look at how wonderful we are and how wonderful you could be if you two joined the Republic. So
Yeah.
I was very sus of it.
yeah, and like this feels like, especially because she's got, I think Elzar makes the point that they pulled all these creatures from their homes and they put them in the zoo. And
zoo.
it's like, I'm like,
The
okay.
zoo made me feel very uncomfortable. I was like, oh, Lina, what are you doing, girl?
And he's
Yeah.
like, well, it's okay. They're going to study them after and use them for like breeding programs. I'm like, okay, but you took them out of their habitat to show people.
And we
Yeah.
all know how we feel about zoos. Like a lot of people have feelings about zoos. So I'm just saying, points were made.
Yes, I mean,
We were
so-
immediately suspicious.
Yeah, so let's just jump into it. I don't think I'm not gonna go chronologically through the story. I think we'll just jump in. So Lina So, I know you guys
Sus.
since the first book, very sus, very suspicious. And we have a question at the end from Twitter that's talking about Lina So, so I'll leave that for later. But at any point in this story, did you feel bad for her, or do you think, oh, maybe she's not
Yeah.
that, because at least she's fighting, she's trying to do something, but we're having this fair, we have this big new ship, the Coruscant Dawn, that we're going to be sending out as a research vessel to the outer rim or to wherever. You still have that same, through reading Rising Storm, you still felt the same about her?
I definitely felt sympathetic towards her at points because, like, obviously some bad things happened to her. And, like, I felt that, like, modicum of sympathy, but still I was like, I don't trust you. Like, obviously bad things can happen to dubious people. So, like, I was still, like, uncertain. Leaving the book, I was like, oh, that's sad that these things happened to her, but also I don't trust you. I would like you to stay out of power.
Yeah.
I felt for her a bit more when you sort of see her through her son's eyes, and he's like, well, she does her best and she tries to always be there. And I'm like, I don't think she's fundamentally a bad person, but I think her ambition and her desire for her great works to sort of change the galaxy are probably going to wind up hurting more people than they help.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
That's-
think
I mean,
that
they did. They already did.
They
the Republic
did. Look
Fair.
how many people died.
so that comes into play when this other senator is telling her, hey, we have the Nile are still attacking, the Drengir are causing chaos, and our great hero, Avar, is out there working with the Huts. We got to do something. And she's like, no, we're fine. We're going to keep pushing forward. So she's kind of just narrow-minded, and my great works have to happen. I got to bring that Togruta into the Republic because that's going to make me great. Doesn't see everything that's going on. So talking about, we're going to say something?
Yeah, I was just like, she definitely reads like a politician who's like, all of these really terrible things are happening. Let's put on a big, giant, showy fair. Call the press. We're doing great. We're not dealing with the Nile.
That she calls her own works great works.
Yeah,
that's not for you to say.
Not someone else. But that's also another thing when the reporter's here and she's been given complete access by Lina So. And like, no, come on, really? That's if you're talking about suspicious. I mean, and then come on to our secret meetings, talking with all the senators. You can record it, but
I love the inclusion of press. Like that brought me so much joy. I know we've seen it, like kind of hints of it and other stuff, but having the press be like a part of the story was kind of fun.
Yeah. So talking, because it was mentioned a few times. So Eivor Chris is the hero of Light of the Jedi, the hero of Hetzal. I was really excited to see her because Elzar Mann is going to be able to see her again after the end.
And she iced him out.
Elzar was really excited to see her too.
I gotta go. And then he has all these weird nightmares because she didn't.
And I love that it was like he was dancing with her and got a little too friendly and she was like, peace out.
Yeah. Well, we've been there. At least I have. So I know. But I felt a little like Elzar where she didn't show up. But for you, because if I'm not mistaken, both of you are reading the comics. Mm-hmm. So you know what, when they mention she's out there fighting the Adren gear and having this not pistol, but kind of working with the Huts a little bit. And I've seen the covers and a little bit. I haven't followed the story, but for people like myself and maybe others out there that are not reading the comics, are we missing out a lot on those type of stories? Then when you read Rising Storm, they're enriched more because you know what's happening on the other end.
Well, I don't think it's necessary. I would say, I feel like we've had this discussion before, Arezou, that it's like it helps kind of strengthen these connections with the characters.
Yeah, it's not that you're missing vital information because anything you need to know, like the Huts and where Eivor is and all that, they tell you. Yeah. But there's, first of all, the comics have this whole rich story with Keeve going on, and the IDW comics
so good.
Their whole own thing going on, which I highly recommend both. But you get to see a bit more of what Eivor is like, so that her decision to not come and see Elzar makes a lot more sense.
And if you like Into the Dark, you will love the comic that's coming out this Wednesday because you'll see some of those familiar faces in this issue. It's the Marvel mainline.
Okay.
No, it's Daniel Jose Older's IDW Adventures.
Okay. I gotta start getting those. So just I only saw Keith Trennis. I don't know if she's mentioned in Light of the Jedi. Maybe not. I think only Skier. But she's on the top list of people's favorite character. I haven't read anything about her. So I gotta.
Keith is amazing. Good.
Right. So let's take a break on it and let's go to this question by Emperor Holocron. I don't know if we can answer it too well because it might be another complete show, but this isn't a quick question. But who are your favorite High Republic characters?
Marchion Ro.
I don't know why I even asked.
No, but also we can go. We can talk about other other character is Stellan Gios. After
and Elzar Mann. I love Mann. And I love Lula. I love Lula so much. She's great in the IDWs. I also loved Wraith. I thought he was such a fun character because I feel like if I was a Jedi, I'd be like, can I just please stay and study? Please don't make me go out there where there are bugs. I don't want to do that, please.
I love Vernestra.
I love Vernestra.
I love Vernestra. I love the potential of where I feel like her arc might go.
Also Nan, also a great character.
Nan, very relatable.
Very relatable.
I think he's the most, I wrote it on my review, I think he's the most relatable Jedi out there.
Really?
Elzar Mann.
Oh, Elzar.
Yeah,
Elzar.
To me, Elzar Mann is very relatable to a normal person. But it's hard for me to say who are my favorite characters. I think every book, and this another great thing about all these authors, every book has given me a character that I really connect with. Vernestra Ro in A Test of Courage. Light of the Jedi, I love Eivor and became one of my favorites. Then Into the Dark, I keep saying it, Orla Durrani and Cormac Virus, top notch. And then here, Stellan Gios was one of the ones that really stood out for me. So there's a lot of great characters here, and people connect to a lot of different ones. Bell, I know Bell is a lot of people's favorite.
Oh, Bell's great. Yeah.
Yes, and in this book, it was great.
Oh my gosh. And then you also have Geode. I mean, Geode's a lot of people's favorite character.
We love Geode.
Yeah.
Geode.
One thing I will say that I like about the characters in the High Republic is, it's like you said, Alberto, you have your favorite in every book. And there's also there are so many characters just within the Jedi that if you're a Jedi fan, that there's almost like somebody to gravitate to for every facet of your personality.
Oh my gosh,
It's not
that's
like-
crazy.
It's not like, I don't know, like earlier stuff where it's like this Jedi is most like me, so this is the one, because there wasn't much to choose from in terms of central characters. But they showcase so many, and there's so many characters that are front and center. So that's one thing that's really strong about the High Republic overall.
Yeah, growing up for me, it's Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is my guy. He's the only Jedi out there. And then we had Kenobi and a few others. But yeah, right now, there's probably like 20 Jedi out there. And all these authors, even Rising Storm, there are so many characters. But Cavan does such a great job in highlighting everyone and giving them their own kind of personality that you don't get lost in, okay, who's speaking now? Wait, when was the last time I saw this guy? Even someone like Orba Lin, this archivist that's just there to talk, and Stellan is like, yeah, go talk with them. And then at the end, he's this great Jedi. I'll do what I do best, give a lecture. And he's giving a lecture about all these artifacts in this ship while kicking ass and kicking butt to two now, including Lorna D, and then throwing
Lorna D.
She's great. We didn't even mention her, but she's awesome.
Also, Ty York, didn't even mention her, and she's fantastic. She comes in at like the last quarter of the book and is just like incredible.
Yeah, so Ty York, when she was announced as this Saber for Hire monster hunter that was getting her own story, extremely excited for it, because again, that's another facet of the Jedi, another type of Jedi we've never seen before. Did she leave the Jedi Order? It looks like it. We don't know why, and that's some of the very interesting things that I want to learn about this character, her connection, of course, to Elzar and to creatures out there. And then she almost killed Elzar twice. Oh man! So this will give me a bunch of heart attacks. So I know out there, even as soon as it was released, people were saying, "Oh, Cavan, you're gonna break everyone's hearts. Or just wait till the end." So I knew something was coming, and I suspect this was gonna do with Loden or Bel Serifar, because that's how Light of the Jedi ended. It has to be something with that. But then, I don't know, 20, 30 pages in the book, we already have this attack on the Coruscant Dawn where this getting built, and they now come in, and then Bell gets shot through the heart or through the chest with this harpoon. And then
I'm
like, really
so
already?
I thought it was over for him.
Me too. I'm like, oh,
crap. They are not killing Bell. They gave him a dog. They
Look at him on the cover.
Yes,
like,
well,
he's
so,
right here.
Yes. So I got scared, I mean, a bunch of times, but that's one of the things. I thought there's going to be at the end. Whatever happens is going to be at the end. But then so soon, Bells get shot through the
Things
heart.
happen at the end.
Yes. We'll get to it.
It's devastating at the end, but it's devastating throughout, too. It's not
throughout.
just the end.
Because even though he didn't die here, he also got beyond. And I think one of you guys posted, it reminded you of Ben Solo at the end of Rise of Skywalker. I know. We always have to talk about Ben at some point.
No, it's just because he was trying to fade away.
Yes.
And he didn't. So I'm like, this is flashbacks. Sorry.
But it's something that at that point you're already cards off the table. Anything can happen. Because with someone like Bell that we just are getting introduced, if you're just following the books, you're getting introduced to him now. He has Ember, who's this great watchdog. Reminded me of those therapy dogs that if every time someone's hurt or they can sniff out a disease and they go help out. When I left Puerto Rico and my mom passed away, just my dad at home, and we left one of our dogs with him, Ginger, the great golden retriever that my wife got me even before. Anyway, that's another story. But we left that dog at home, and he became my dad's companion. And then he would tell me that every time my dad would cough or sneeze or do something, this dog would come in and just jump on his lap to make sure he's doing okay. And that's what this reminded me of Ember. Every time that something happened to Bell, he was right there. He followed him. He knew when to, okay, you're fine. I'm going to go follow Stellan because he knows where he's going and he's going to need my help and in the ship. So, yeah, don't separate them just yet. We need Bell to stay with Ember for a little bit longer.
I can't even start to fathom the idea of something happening to Ember. It will break my heart.
Yeah. So let's talk about this guy, that handsome son of a gun, Stellan Gios.
Listen.
Oh, this man.
This man.
So that
what a man, what a man,
Yeah.
what a mighty good man.
So Stellan, I don't know where I can go now. So Stellan Gios, it's presented as Jedi Master in control of everything, right? He loves teaching, likes to be in telling people everything that's going on, show off his Jedi skills when he's powering with the other Jedi, I forgot her name, to the reporter, just talking about the Jedi and showing everyone around. But then you bring in Elzar Mann and you see that connection. I also love Stellan a lot because there's a point where I think he kind of, I think he's showing a part of himself that he really doesn't like, but he's projecting that he's fine with everything. I don't think that he really likes being in front of the cameras. He loves teaching, but not being this, there's Stellan, let's go see what he's doing, and everyone was following him and wanted to talk with him. I don't think he wanted that, so I do kind of relate to that a little bit. And then, of course, everything happens through the book all the way to the end. But so this Jedi that was the first Jedi that we saw for the High Republic when it was announced, did it live up to everyone's expectations? What are your thoughts on this handsome son of a gun?
I'm going to throw this all to Arezou because I know that she loves Stellan.
He exceeded my expectations and more because I was very keen on Stellan Gios from the beginning because he looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi and his lightsaber looks like Ben Solo's. Yeah. So these like my two favorite men so far, and he's like a combination. But what I like about him is he sort of seems to walk this line between like what's her name? Avar's like extreme devotion to duty and Elzar's extreme devotion to his like friends and his loved ones, and he sort of tries to walk that middle line. Yeah. So he is, he's the academic, he is the teacher, he's sort of he's like the nutty professor almost, and he wants to push everybody to their fullest potential, and he's like such a proud teacher too because he's so proud of everything that Renestor's accomplished. And like this book is like the first time we're really seeing him in any significant capacity, so we're really just starting to get the idea of like he has become the hero of Valo because he's like cradling the Chancellor's body and everything after they thought she died, and it just became this image that went all over the place. But this isn't who he wants to be. Like he's on the council, I think, because he thinks it'll be cool and like it'll be a good opportunity for him, but it's put so much more attention on him than I think he wanted. So going forward in the rest of like this wave and the next phase, like I'm so interested to see how this newfound celebrity affects the handsome son of a blaster bookworm who sits on the Jedi Council. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. All of that. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and I think that image, like you mentioned, of him cradling the Chancellor at the end of all this, it's just blowing up in the HoloNet right now, and it's going to propel him even more to this stardom that he doesn't want. I don't think that he wants. But I love also when he's talking to Elzar Mann. Of course, they have different ways of viewing the Force and going about it, but he says something to like, my passion cannot go over my mission or something. I mean, my passion must never be greater than my mission, which is a very Jedi thing to say, but then contrast 100% or 75% Elzar Mann. When his passion and
he's passionate.
He is a passionate man.
Very passionate. And I think that's also how the Force connects with him, how he connects to the Force is with all these relationships or the way he connects with people. So Elzar Mann ends Light of the Jedi having this premonition, which if you follow Cavan Scott and Dooku, it's a lot of premonitions on those books, and no one takes them seriously apart from the people having them. And then
you would think they would take them seriously. Like
it's been like 300 years of people having premonitions.
But that almost makes me wonder if Elzar's premonitions were never recorded as being premonitions. So even if they come true, like if it's just lost to history, so by the time it happens to Sifo Dyas, like they're like, well, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because I don't think he told anyone. He didn't tell Avar. I don't think he told anyone. I should have started with. So this book starts on Tython, on Ashla's moon of Ashla, one of the moons of Tython. I freaked out. Tython, is that from Mandalorian? I gotta go. I stopped reading. I had to go on Google and make
page one.
Check.
You're like, am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah. Then Ashla, isn't that Ahsoka's original name? What's all this? So when you guys saw just Tython, you just started freaking out right there.
Oh yeah.
The Ashla moon of Tython, no less. Like it's just a 1-2 before you've even started.
Cavan Scott. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So Elzar Mann starts that way, and then he's on Tython, having all this, still having the visions. So he decides, I'm just gonna go to the sea because that's how he connects to the Force. How he sees the Force is this storm-tossed sea. goes down to the deep and says, "Okay, I just gotta go to Valo and deal with it." But then he does this very, what's it, that hubris of the Jedi that I'm on Valo already, so things are good. Once I'm here, nothing's gonna happen, and then of course everything happens. Elzar Mann, Eivor Chris, Samara, Tayoric, all those relationships. How can someone be that in a small period of time? I don't know what I'm asking, but Elzar Mann, just what? So I know it was a point on Twitter a few months ago before this book came out. I don't remember who said what. Oh yeah, Jedi can have relationships or have sex.
That was Cavan.
It was Cavan.
It was Cavan. He was warning us.
Yes, I guess, and we didn't. And then when you saw that on the page officially, Star Wars and a big Star Wars,
we texted each other.
I was shook.
Yeah.
Well and truly shook. Also, I have some theories about Samira, and I guess we'll get to theories later on, but I have some theories about her. But I was shocked. Romance and multiple acts in my Star Wars?
The first thing Maggie just like when you get to this part, you'll know. And then I got her like, oh my god.
I was like, Arezou's gonna lose her mind, just like I just did. I stopped and I was like, Mom, Star Wars went there. Star Wars did a thing. Star Wars is truly an adult book.
Like, they're actually having sex in this book. Like, oh my, like not graphically. If nobody's read it, like it's not,
it's not graphic. It's
not graphic,
heavily alluded to, and you know exactly what happened.
You know what's going to
say.
Multiple acts are very strongly alluded.
It's very specific.
But,
He's lying naked on the bed, feeling guilty about what he did.
Thing.
The multiple things that he did.
Like a good Jedi.
Yes.
I love that he's like, where's my pants? That was like, I cracked up. That whole scene, it was just like, I was picturing it. I think that's what's so great about Cavan Scott's like writing style is I could picture it as a scene. Like I could picture the light coming through and like the curtains billowing. I could picture the whole scene so vividly. And I just couldn't believe it was happening in Star Wars.
So is this a rebound from that Eivor Chris kind of cold shoulder, or just it's Elzar being Elzar, right place, right time, and there was a connection between, because even before that, him and Samara were having they were flirting pretty heavily throughout the whole
yeah.
I think it's a bit of both.
It's a bit of both.
I think he's feeling rejected, so he wants something, but then finds a deeper connection with Samara than I think he expected.
And she's great. I like her.
Yeah.
She was a great addition to the book. And then following or continuing with Elzar's connection to people, then you bring someone like Tayoric, who I thought for a second had killed Elzar Mann because she even in his chest, that pointy one that she has. Thank God for that nullifier that turned it off. I thought he was gone. Do you guys also felt that, or were you it's fine? That was the nullifier was working. He's okay.
I didn't know if she'd injured him or not, but I'm like, he's not
going to die. They're not going to kill him in this book.
If they're going to kill him, it's going to be in front of Eivor, and they're going to make it hurt.
Oh yeah, it has to be in front of Eivor. I don't want him to die, but if it dies,
I don't want him to.
I want it to hurt Eivor.
If any of those three, Eivor, Stellan, or Elzar, die, the other two are going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to.
Which is
as long as they're not all in the same room.
They're like the trio of the story.
They are though.
Yeah. And that's because they all have these different type of connection. They all grew together. Stellan and Eivor, the main Jedi, or whoever everyone kind of looks up to, but they still have that great connection coming out through the Jedi Order. But then when he meets Tayoric and they have this mind meld, like they mentioned, when they try to control these animals, and they said there's a mind meld between Elzar Mann and Tayoric that is characterized, come on, I can't read, as a connection through the Force deeper than any physical contact. And that's another great aspect. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I know.
But it's another thing that we don't see that often in Star Wars.
Is it a Force dyad?
Yes. So I think also you put a proto dyad or something. Do you think, is it some of the same type of connection or theme?
I think it's similar. I think it's, in the way that the only other dyad we really have sort of rose as a contrast to each other. I think Elzar being stuck in the system, but chafing under it, and then sort of he seems pretty happy, but generally chafing under it. And then Ty, who something clearly horrific happened and she just turned her back on it. Like, in that way, they are almost a contrast of each other. And that she could walk away where Elzar can't. So I think their souls find each other. And I don't necessarily read it as romantic.
No.
But...
Because for some reason,
she explicitly says you're not my type. So
yeah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure somewhere along the way somebody said she was supposed to be a lesbian. So I was like,
yeah, because she was hitting on
that
daughter, whose name just flew out of my head.
Yes,
yeah, but although interestingly, she does also see Elzar and Avar with their multiple acts, which I just confirmation of that. Thank you. But I do think that like they. I
love that whole conversation too. That was so good. Like she's like, stop.
Whoa,
stop thinking that.
And they're both just embarrassed.
Yeah,
which is what a dyad should be. They should have this kind of.
And I love that because I laughed. Like I loved that this book had so many different emotions. Like it ranged from being like, oh, this is a horny Star Wars book, and then also this is like humorous and like heartfelt, and there's like all these different kinds of connections. And I think that going back to what we talked about at the start of this episode. Like this book is filled with so many different kinds of connections, whether it's intimate or familial or like friendly or brotherly or like it's all these different relationships. And I think that's what's so fun.
Yeah. And most of them are through Elzar because he's just that type of person.
He just loves all kinds of relationships, romantic, horny, or otherwise.
But I do love Ty Yorick and that concept of this hire. We meet her. She's fighting the Drain Gear because someone, we need you to help us. And then she, there's a trigger word that they say that she said, okay, I guess I'll have to help you. Because even though she's not a Jedi, she doesn't follow the Jedi anymore. She still has that connection. She's still a good person. And then, I don't know, throughout the book, she kind of grows. I do want to learn more about her because we didn't get that much. I know she has some story coming out later this year that I really want to get into when it comes out. So let's talk a little bit about this nullifier. So I forget the name, this person that hires Ty Yorick. Hey, take me to the fair. I have a contact there, which is this senator that wants to build this Republic army. That's going to work. We know how that always goes. But then we find out is this weapon that nullifies or shuts down any energy weapon, including the lightsabers. Then I remember from A Test of Courage, Avon Stavros, she's very interested in lightsabers, wants to study lightsabers. And there's a point that she says that she wants to, at some point, find a way to nullify the Force, which I know is different, but I mean, with what happens at the end of this book. Do you think that's something that we're kind of getting towards to in this High Republic? Somehow, somewhere, someone finds out how to kind of disconnect the Jedi from the Force. They're already making the lightsabers kind of obsolete, I guess, if they're able to harness this. And we get into something that we will jump into Marchion Ro in a minute and what he does, which just blew everyone's mind. But we get into something like that the Jedi's reliance on the Force might be kind of a hindrance.
I think we're definitely going to go down that path because they can already do that. The Drengir can do that. Like we saw that with Ezra, and they severed his connection to the Force. So I think there are just too many hints of this kind being set up for that to not eventually pay off down the line.
Yeah, it has to pay off. That has to be set up for something.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go into it. So the Nihil and Marchion Ro.
The Nihil.
When that was released a few months ago for one of the comics, I know we lost it. We saw him unmasked.
Mm-hmm.
So Marchion, I know you guys love him for a bunch of different reasons. But when this book started, he's on this planet on Rystan with this Nihil who's Force sensitive. And for me, the way he was helping this young kid just navigate the cave, or he fell, let me help you. I'm like, oh, he's showing me a different side. He's being this leader. He's very compassionate. And then he freaking kills him and smashes his head down with his boot. And like, come on now.
He looked good doing it.
He looked really good doing it. No, so like when I was reading it, I was like, I knew what he was getting ready to do. And that might say something about me. But like that amount of friendliness, and it felt very insincere. But like in that way that everybody knows somebody like that. Everybody knows somebody who's friendly for the sake of getting something. And so it felt like he was setting this guy up. And I'm like, this guy is not making it out of here. Our feathered friend is not long for this world. And when we got to the point where he killed him, I was like, yep, that is the Marchion that we all love and know. But I also thought it was really interesting because even though he's being very terrible, and I love him for it, there was setting up a sort of backstory that we kind of saw hints at in the Light of the Jedi, but we never really saw it developed yet. And now we really got a clearer, though still hazy, picture at Marchion Ro. And like I said in my review, it ticked a lot of Ben Solo boxes for me because we have somebody who is grappling with very complicated feelings towards his father. We also have a character who has a really great mask and is also collecting artifacts because, I mean, not to talk about Ben Solo too much, but like he had his Darth Vader helmet, which was like his artifact. And then you have Marchion looking for things as well. And it was just, it's very interesting the sort of archetypes they're using to create their sympathetic villains. It's very unique. It's very, very interesting to me.
Second everything Maggie just said. Like 100%.
All right.
Of course, the Ben Solo stuff.
Yeah, like especially that, but it's scary when you have somebody like Marchion who has this very insincere kindness, but you know the characters want to believe it's sincere, and you're like, but it's not, and that almost makes it worse.
Yes,
like he's
a terrible person.
He's a terrible person, and he like uses people, and he lies to people, and he's letting his own damage hurt people, but he is compelling through all of it.
And then we also have the whole fact that things are crumbling from underneath of him because we have the whole subplot with Panetta. And like that, I think is really compelling because we've seen that before. I mean, Kylo Ren had the similar kind of thing where he had a second in command, Hux, and like things were getting done kind of under his purview. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to see those similar echoes in the Force being done in this point. I think that creates some really interesting conflict moving forward because it shows that the Nihil are not only volatile to the galaxy, but volatile to themselves.
Mm-hmm. So I love seeing Panetta in this one because in Light of the Jedi, he was, of the Tempest runners, the one that really didn't do anything. So he got a bunch here. He got electrocuted by one of the helmets. He got jabbed with a
kiss, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how he's still alive. I mean, those dual teams are pretty big guys. But like you said, the Nihil that structure is not working. It's not going to work long time because I think Marchion is more focused on the Jedi and what the Jedi did to him and how. Do you think it's going to come to a point that he just kind of gets rid of the Nihil or just leaves the, hey, you guys do whatever, I'm just going to go here and do with my main mission, which I think is some type of revenge for the Jedi that we don't know why that hate is there.
I think he's going to lose his power and go on the run.
Yeah, I think he'll lose his power because I don't think the Nihil are going anywhere. My big headcanon theory is that the Cloud Riders that we eventually encounter in Solo with Enfys Nest and her mother, I think that those are the culmination of what the Nihil are right now because they're very much the same sort of character. I mean, first of all, Storm Riders, Tempest, all of this stuff, like there's a lot of Storm language and then Cloud Riders. And then also the fact that they're like fighters, freedom fighters of sorts, while also being pirates, and the Republic hates them. So I feel like they're definitely like 300 years, 200 years later kind of character. So I don't think the Nihil are going anywhere. But
there'll be talk about a character arc for the Nihil starting at the evil in the Outer Rim and then becoming part of the rebellion.
Well, evil is relative, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's not that. I'm not Chancellor. Maybe I am a little bit of Lina. So
no, you can't be.
I know. Well, she has those couple of lions. They're pretty cool.
They are cool. They are very cool.
So you mentioned when we started talking about Marchion that we learn a little bit more about his history and his past. He calls, I think, his cousin or something, Kufa. Mm-hmm. They're talking about the faithful, or they knew it on whatever. She said something that they knew it on the faithful,
Jeddah, and they knew it somewhere else.
And they know it now on Dalna, which is this planet that the ambassadors on a test of courage. So, do you have any idea, any speculation of what background or what Marchion Ro histories with the Jedi? Was his family, or who are these faithful? Are the faithful the wills, the followers of the will? Because they mention of Jedi's. This another version, another followers of the Force, and then the Jedi did something to them. What's the faithful, the leveler at the end? All these things that freaking Cavan gave us. Any idea what might have happened in the past that has Marchion this way against the Jedi?
I think Wave 2 has a very more Wave 2 than Wave 1, but even a little bit there, has a very interesting exploration of Force users that aren't Jedi. So we have like the faithful here. I don't remember the exact reference, but there's one in Race to Crash Point Tower as well about like a different group of Force users. We have like the Togruta, who we know eventually will join the Jedi Order, but as of now don't. So there's a lot of this concept of people are misusing the Force, and the Jedi are those people. But we know that the Jedi are still going to be around 300 years from now. So I think that they've got some relationship to the Force, like his family does, his father does, if not necessarily a relationship to the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where the relationship is, but I do think they have some kind of Force sensitivity, Force relationship.
Yeah. And we also have all these creatures that are dark side or have some connection to the dark side. We saw it on Jedi Lost with the Kira, or that dragon that comes out from the ground that Dooku's controlling, and then of course here at the end with the leveler, that freaking monster is controlling this weird creature that killed or started, I guess, at the beginning because it was frozen, just messing with that Nihil that was force sensitive, and of course once it's unfrozen, it goes on the kill, like literally.
Yeah.
But so for the Nihil, do you think? Because I know there's a novel audiobook coming for Lorna D.
Lorna D.
I think in August or September. Do you think she'll be the one to kind of take over the Nihil eventually? Because I don't think Panayera might come back, but I don't think he's just too hot-headed to be a leader. But Lorna D is the one that, since a lot of the Jedi has been kind of been pushed as this more cerebral person that knows what's going on out there and kind of move pieces around, not just let's go battle. Do you think she might kind of move up a couple of extra rungs in the Nihil?
I could see that, I guess. I think I'm going to hold off my theories until what we know after San Diego Comic-Con next week.
Oh, yes.
So that we know if the Lorna D audio drama marks the beginning of the next actual phase, or if it's just like the third part of the first wave. Because I feel like we're not going to, if the theory of Marchion losing control kind of plays out, I don't think that's going to happen until the middle of the story.
Right.
Because then I feel like that's the centerfold of the three sections.
All right. So as we start winding this down, because I want to get to some of the questions we have. Again, it might be too early to tell, but what do you think is Marchion's end game?
I don't think Marchion knows what his end game is.
He is holding this whole thing together with wishes and duct tape.
He is. I think of a lot of villains as wounded animals. And I feel like he's very much, he has this wound that not only is whatever happened to his family, but also his relationship with his father, which I think colors even further his like pursuit of trying to prove him wrong about him. And then there's the added thing of like what we knew about the High Republic when it was first introduced was that like, what are the Jedi afraid of? And I think that it's not the Drengir. The Drengir are definitely terrifying, but I think that the Jedi are genuinely afraid of being shown that they're not actually in the right. And I think that Marchion is really the only character within the High Republic that can truly be like, you all caused my family hurt, and now I'm going to cause you hurt. And I think that there's that friction there of the Jedi realizing that they are fatally flawed in their perfection, that I think makes the drive of Marchion's character, though really important, more important to what's happening to the Jedi and the trajectory that they end up on in the next 300 years.
Okay. So then we have the heartbreak. We've been waiting for it. Elle is helping there on this planet where the Nihil are hiding. Loden is able to escape, and then finally Bell senses his master. He had been close from the Force a little bit, and when he opens himself up, oh, there's my master, there's Loden, he's alive, I gotta go find him. And I thought when Loden is kind of in the ramp of the ship, and then Marchion goes behind him, throws those same poison, I think the way it's described is that Loden kind of flips back, and I thought that he had been hit, and that's when he died. But Bell catches him, which is something he was taught in Light of the Jedi. And then Loden is a character that we haven't seen that much, whereas it's this great Jedi thing. He's been tortured for a year, and the first thing he does is gets his lightsaber, point me to the side of danger, point me to where danger is, so he can go help people. So again, now, okay, I love you, man, come to me. But then Marchion unleashes his beast, the Leveler, that I mentioned before. Cavan Skull loves his creatures that have this dark side energy. We don't know what this is. It's a beast on 4 legs that as soon as it gets close to the Jedi, at least to Loden, turn him to stone and then just dissolve.
If I had seen this on screen, I would never watch this movie again. That kind of visual horrifies me, like on a visceral level. So that was extremely scary.
I remember reading it and being like, Arezou's gonna hate this,
Like,
because I knew that was like your one thing you hate.
So, but what were you expecting Loden to die as soon as he's saved, basically? Because he was a hero in Light of the Jedi, gets captured, he's been tortured for I think 6 months or a year, how long it's passed. Then he's finally able to free himself, and then gets killed in this way in front of Bell, which I don't know how he's going to react to this. But apart from that first kind of shock, I don't know, were you guys expecting something like this?
I thought he was going to die in the next book. I thought they were going to get him back, realize he's not the person he used to be, and watch him slowly fade away. And then that was when Bell was going to have his moment. This obviously works a lot better because it's a shock.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried about Bell because he's just starting to get better, and then have this happen right in front of him.
I think that's what I was thinking too. But then now, like after the fact, I'm seeing what they're doing with the whole skier storyline in the comics. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense that they went with a completely different route for Corrupted Master.
Yeah. Like it's Keeve and Bell I'm particularly worried about, because
so worried about.
Jedi, don't form attachments, but you're raised by your master, essentially. They are the only kind of parent you've ever known. So, of course, you get attached to them.
Yeah. I mean, if we go then, again, I keep mentioning, but we have to, for Dooku Jedi Lost, we know when they're talking about the Lost 20, Master Trennis is one of the Lost 20. I'm like, no, why? Why are you doing this to us so early? All right, so let's finish up then let's theorize out there just what might happen, what's next. I know you mentioned something, Maggie, about Samara. What are your thoughts about it?
Okay, so in the book, there's a throwaway line about Marchion having somebody at the Republic Fair who's reporting information to him.
Oh, no.
And my first thought was Samira, because not only did she I'm not casting her in a bad light, she befriended a Jedi in a very intimate fashion, which is a great way for spies to get information. Also, the fact that she wasn't in bed with him when they woke up, I thought was very suspicious. And the fact that she was already dressed and doing her thing in the next room felt very, I got the information I needed kind of feeling, or I got the attachment I needed to be privy to information that I can feed back. And that was my first impression. I was like, I wonder if anybody else feels this way, because it felt very pointed that we have this character who gets very close to a Jedi very quickly. And then we have this introduced concept that Marchion has somebody who's reporting things back to him. And Samira just seems like a likely person. And I don't fault her for that. I mean, go girl, go.
So I remember reading that, but I thought about in Light of the Jedi, I think he has a senator or someone in Coruscant feeding him information. That's when I thought, it's the same person. Damn. But that person is never mentioned in Rising Storm.
Nope. And that's why I went back and looked too, because I was like, I know there was somebody in Light of the Jedi, but they're never mentioned again. And I was just like, interesting. And I would love that. I would love that to test Elzar, because I think that would be really fun if he's like, oh my God, I slept with the enemy.
Ava already shown him. She didn't show up. Now he starts forming a connection with Samara. Yeah, come on. Oh,
It's a Nihil. Give me that enemies to lovers or lovers to enemies to lovers.
I mean, it was something, right? Into the dark between Wreath and the Now girl.
Oh man, we love Mann.
We love Mann.
We
just
love
wait.
Mann.
Just wait.
All right, so Bell. We didn't get to talk too much about Bell. We know he's been suffering since what happened to Lord and Light of the Jedi. He's kind of shot himself, not like Luke Skywalker. He shot himself a little bit from the Force, and now this happens. How do you think he might react? Just shut himself down again, kind of just walk a different path? Because we've seen now in Into the Dark with Comac and Orla, when they get attached to their masters and then they go separate ways. Orla, I'm going to be a way seeker, going to find the Force is calling me in a different way. And for Comac is, I got to dedicate myself, get this new Padawan. How do you think Bell, as a young Jedi, is going to react to this? Because he doesn't really connect with his new master. And then his real master doesn't consider himself a knight because he wanted Loden to be there to knight him. What is this poor guy going to do now?
I think he's going to shut down. So to sort of draw a comparison to Keeve, like if anything happens to Skier, I feel like Keeve is going to double down on making sure that whoever harmed her master pays for it. Bell, on the other hand, is such a sensitive boy, and he's so like feeling, and he's so connected, and I think he's just going to shut down and not like in trying to close himself off to everything. I think he's going to leave himself vulnerable to the dark side, to the Nihil, he's going to leave himself open to falling in some capacity. That's what I think is going to happen to Bell. I don't want it to. I want everybody to be safe and happy, but that's what I think is going to happen.
And then we have, just finishing up with Elzar and Stellan. Elzar is still having these visions. It's still something else is coming. There's a quote here at the end, last page. Elzar saying, echoing the words in his mind. They're saying, they're coming, Stellan. They're coming, and we can't stop them. That's not the Drengir. I don't think it's the Nile. Is it something else, like you mentioned, another group of Force users out there? Because then we had Marchion Ro with the Leveler, this creature that has some connection, I guess, to his family or to something, to the faithful, and it gets unleashed. What's next for our band of hero Jedis out there now that there's this creature out there controlled? I don't know how he's controlling it, that can just decimate Jedi like that. Just run for cover.
I feel like that's the only option.
All right.
Lots of pain on the horizon.
Yeah.
So much pain.
And that's what exciting about Comic-Con coming in a couple of weeks or next week, because we know there's going to be they're going to give us either a new wave or the new phase of books. It's going to be something because, like you said, Maggie, this era was given with what are the Jedi afraid of? It's not the Nile. I thought it might be the Drengir, but nah, not really. It has to be something else. And I think we're starting to get to it, and that's going to be extremely exciting. So I can't wait. Rising Storm showed up, like I said, top 5. It's hard. Let's show them again. Cavan Scott is such a great. Another thing about this initiate is that we have a lot of Star Wars authors, but they weren't really known. So everyone knows Claudia Gray, but Daniel Hosselder did the Last Shot one, a bunch of comics. Justin Art and Kevin Scott. Charles Soule had done the comics, but not these big books, and they have been given the reins to this and just expanded it. Different,
so good.
Yeah, all their writings is different, but they bring all the different characters, different point of views. I love seeing here that the great designers, the architects, all of them were aliens and weird aliens. Orbalin, this blob that takes care of everyone. Then the little insects that built the new spaceship, the Coruscant Dawn, reminded me of the Geonosians, where we're something different. It's extremely cool to see all these different viewpoints, not just regular human Jedi doing everything. But yeah, Rising Storm. Arezou, I think you said it was one of your favorite books, or just jump to your favorite.
It was my top 3 when I finished it. I think it's my favorite Star Wars book, period. Okay.
Any reason why there's something specific about it that
it hits every kind of character beat I like in a story? It's, the sort that you not only think about when you're finished, but it's not like you're trying to remember what happened. You remember it all vividly, but you can't shake it. And it just pushed all of these characters like so far forward in their arcs in such a meaningful way that like this is what I want in any kind of storytelling. So that's why it just kind of jumped up there, and it's not like the other books in like the mainline canon pre-High Republic, or I guess post-High Republic, where it's hinged on me being attached to some concept from the movies. Like this stands so well on its own as a character building sci-fi novel, and that's why it shot right to the top.
Yeah. To me, it's like I said before we started, Rising Storm, same for me at least for Into the Dark, is those books that as you read them, they're great. You finish, oh, that's a great story. 1 day, 2 days go by, a week, and you're still thinking about everything that happened, what it means for the future, how it affected this person or that person. Those are the stories that stay with you. And Rising Storm is one of those books that even the more I think about it, the more it kind of starts going up on those lists that I try not to do because it's very difficult. But it's a great book. Can't wait what else comes from Cavan Scott and just the whole High Republic initiative. So let's go to a couple of questions that we got on Twitter on that segment I like to call Rebel Thoughts. So we're all doing Rebel Thoughts. When I put it out there, and you guys just come back and tell me a couple of questions. We have 2 today. I was waiting for a third one where it didn't come, but that's fine. So the first one comes from the Force Losers, at Force Losers, and they say, why does Cavan Scott take pleasure in our pain? Who hurt him? I don't think we can answer this.
I think that's a question for Cavan.
Yeah.
I feel like he enjoys watching us all scream about it, though. It's better than having your book come out and everyone be like, okay, that was fine.
Yeah.
He definitely revels in the pain.
Yeah, I think he enjoys provoking the strong reaction.
So
it reminds me of that the Star Wars show on YouTube when she was like, "Why, Cavan? Why?"
On the High Republic show. So I guess did it work? Let's ask that question. Did that shock value of killing Loden at the end in front of Bell, that finally he finds his map, did it work? Was it just, you can write a shock death and it doesn't pay off. This one paid off, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I think it paid off because it wasn't, everything was fine, Loden's dead. Mm-hmm. By the time you get there, your heart's already racing. You're already in a lot of pain from everything that's already happened. That's just one more thing. And it's this kid who would finally start to get better, who is now screaming and he can't stop screaming. Yeah. So I think it's a shock on top of a whole lot of pain, and I think that's what made it so effective.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. And then he tweeted out the other day, everything's going to be fine from now on. Maybe. Like, don't do this.
No.
It's truly my favorite.
Cavan, just write a rom-com, please.
Part of this.
Cavan, write enemies to lovers. I dare you.
All right. And then our final question comes from our friend Andres Alvarez from the 50-minute podcast at AAA_Folk Talk. He asks, be honest, were you hoping Lina So went to her first and last fair in the book as the story played out?
Yes.
So if you don't know Andres and 50 Minutes, they combine politics, like real world politics, with Star Wars. And he's every time he's very into this sauce of Lina So. So
they get it. They get it over there.
Yes. So we talked a little bit about this at the beginning. Lina So was a little bit more sympathetic throughout this book, but were you thinking that something else might happen to her, that she might just die? Because it came very close to it, I think, in a couple of points.
I was expecting her to die. And then I was like, okay, so then I'm just going to have to shift all of my annoyance towards Avar, because Avar is going to step up and be the annoying figurehead to the colonization efforts in the Outer Rim. But then she pulled through and I was like, wasn't expecting that one. But I guess they couldn't kill her off and Loden.
I was disappointed because I thought she died.
I was so expecting her to die.
I was disappointed because I'm like, well, okay, I guess I was wrong, because I thought she was going to become a much bigger bad than... She's not even technically a bad guy right now, but I thought she was going to become some level of big bad down the line, and I was kind of disappointed that I've been wrong. And then she pulled through. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not wrong.
So do you think she's changed after this? Because at the beginning, she doesn't care about denial. We're dealing with them. That Rengi are not a threat. Avar's dealing with it. And now this happened in the fair. Do you think she's changed, that maybe she's going to think about either doing something with this Republic army, or is she still gonna keep pushing through my great works? The Jedi won the day again. We're fine.
I think she's gonna double down.
Yeah, I think she's going to double down too. Like, you see what happened to me. This could happen to the rest of the Outer Rim. Join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, that's what dictators do. That's what people do. They use those. The attack of my life has left me scarred.
I mean, you're not
All
wrong.
right.
I mean, we just saw this in the Bad Batch. There's a reason why Rampart staged an assassination attempt, because injuries to figureheads lead to submission.
And then
So-
it's broadcasted because she's calling the news.
The press.
She's there being cradled by another Jedi hero. Oh,
If you
man.
want to get super conspiratorial, theoretically, it was a really bad move of her to have a giant fair that was highly publicized in the midst of not only a fight with the Dringir, but the Nihil, and knowing that the Nihil will definitely target the Republic fair. So one could argue that she intentionally was the architect of her own injury, so to be the catalyst of whatever great works she's trying to spread.
She
Just saying.
did on purpose. She knew they were going to retaliate, maybe not to the extent that it happened, but in the end, it might work out for her.
Yeah, we don't know.
I guess we'll find out soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to finish because there's so much to talk about. Anyway, we got to call it a day. So thank you guys for being here. Always a pleasure talking with you, especially High Republic, because I learn a lot. I say it one way and then you guys, no, but this and Lina. So I told you guys when I read Light of the Jedi, Lina, so yes, she's the savior. Whatever is her motto out there for light and life. And then, no, she's a colonizer. And then I start reading it again. No, crap. Of course, she's doing all these things. She's not evil, but she thinks she's the better option for people out there. But yeah. All right. So let me see one last question. So Emperor Holocron said, were you guys surprised to see that Elzar had been there and back a little?
No.
He goes, yeah. This we're talking about he going to the dark side.
It made sense for his character.
Yeah.
Especially since he's such a passionate person, and we've seen that like extreme emotions lead to the dark side. It makes sense that the very passionate Jedi has been tempted. Which makes me wonder, will he fall?
So I think I wrote that saying, we know what happens to very passionate or Jedi that give in to their emotions where they are tempted by the dark side.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Anakin is pretty similar. Can he be one? Again, High Republic. This
The
is
thing
what
is, Elzar has a much better support system than Anakin did, because Obi-Wan did his best, but Obi-Wan is operating under a very strict dogma and a very strict upbringing. Whereas like Stellan kind of grew up in that sort of a little more free system that Elzar did. So Elzar has a much more qualified, I guess I should say, not better, qualified support system. So.
Yeah, there are a few people out there. All right, so as we wrap this, thank you again for being here. We'll do it again. I might, every time we talk about High Republic, I might just have to call you guys in to talk about the main book or something.
I love that, being that the go-to High Republic people.
Yeah. I'll make up a name for this team. So thank you. Where can people find you, Arezou?
So people can find me on Twitter. I'm at Arezou Amin. And you can find me podcasting at the Geeky Waffle, writing on the website, and my show in particular, Space Waffles, which is out every other Monday. And otherwise, you can find me at arezud2.com, where I put all my spoilery Star Wars book reviews. So we've got 2 High Republic ones up there now, taking a tiny break to do some Revenge of the Sith stuff, and then we'll be back with Out of the Shadows in a couple weeks.
All right.
Yes. And you can find me on Twitter at Maggie of the Town. I have a link tree in my bio where you can find all of my various pursuits. I am most frequently found writing over at Your Money Geek. I do weekly reviews of The Bad Batch. I'm also on the Outer Rim Beacon as a co-host, and I have my YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk About Star Wars, which tomorrow I am announcing our giveaway. I have a very fun kind of slate of things to choose from for a very special winner. So be sure to follow me over there. And I'll be posting about it on Twitter as always.
All right. So just to clarify, Emperor Holocron was asking about his love for Ava. We touched about it.
Still not surprised.
Not surprised there either.
So yeah, something happened. So again, thank you for me. If you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you know where to find me. But Radio Rebel Pod on Twitter and Instagram, Radio Rebellion Podcast, WordPress, when I try to post my reviews of the books and shows and whatever. So thank you again to my guests. Thank you to the chat and the people that sent out their questions. So as always, stay safe, be safe, and may the force be with you.
The Nihil were right.
Radio Rebellion.